The Fox's Pursuit of Grit. In the ancient fable, The Fox and the Grapes by Aesop, we encounter a famished fox driven by a relentless desire for a bunch of ripe black grapes hanging tantalizingly from a trellised vine. Despite employing all her cunning tricks, the fox exhausts herself in vain attempts, ultimately failing to grasp the elusive prize. Disappointed, she turns away, concealing her thwarted ambitions with the assertion, "The grapes are sour and not ripe as I thought." Moral of the story: before dismissing a goal as unattainable, reflect on whether your assessment is grounded in reality or influenced by a perceived inability to achieve it. The wisdom of a Chinese farmer. In the Zen tale known as the Chinese farmer story, attributed to philosopher Alan Watts, we encounter the life of a Chinese farmer whose experiences invite reflection on perspective and humility. Once upon a time, a Chinese farmer faced the adversity of his horse running away. Concerned neighbors gathered, expressing sympathy. "That's too bad." The farmer, with a sense of equanimity, responded, "Maybe." The following day, the lost horse returned, accompanied by 7 wild horses. The neighbors, now sharing in the farmer's apparent fortune, exclaimed, "That's great, isn't it?" Yet again, the farmer's response was measured, "Maybe." The farmer's son, attempting to tame one of the new horses, was thrown and broke his leg. The sympathetic neighbors returned, commenting, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?" Unfazed, the farmer calmly replied, "Maybe." Soon after, conscription officers arrived, seeking recruits for the army. The farmer's son, exempted due to his broken leg, prompted the neighbors to celebrate, saying, "Well, isn't that wonderful?" And once more, the farmer offered his perspective, "Maybe." Moral of the story: this story teaches us to approach life events with open-mindedness, recognizing the intricate and infinite causal chain of the universe. The true narrative unfolds beyond our immediate judgments, reminding us that stories continue even after what seems like a happy ending. The parable of the drunkard. In the allegorical tale known as the Drunkard, we encounter a narrative that imparts a valuable lesson about the pursuit of truth and wisdom. On a night illuminated by a streetlight, a policeman observes a drunk man earnestly searching for something. Curious, the officer inquires about the lost item. The drunkard confesses to misplacing his keys and invites the policeman to join in the search. Both men huddle under the streetlight, scouring the area. After a brief search, the policeman questions the drunkard's certainty about losing the keys at that spot. The drunkard, acknowledging his error, reveals that he actually lost the keys in the park. Puzzled, the policeman wonders why the man is searching under the streetlight. With a simple yet profound response, the drunkard states, "This is where the light is." Moral of the story: the parable urges us to reflect on our quest for truth. Often, we may look for answers where it is convenient or familiar, even if the real insights lie in more challenging or less obvious places. It encourages us to broaden our perspectives and explore beyond the illuminated zones of our comfort, for that is where profound truths may be discovered. The parable of the scorpion and the frog. In the timeless fable of the scorpion and the frog, a profound tale unfolds, exploring themes of trust, human nature, and malevolence. A scorpion approaches a frog with a peculiar request to carry him across a river. The frog, initially hesitant due to the fear of being stung, is presented with a persuasive argument by the scorpion. It contends that if it were to sting the frog, both would meet a watery demise as they sank, and the scorpion would drown along with its carrier. Despite reservations, the frog consents. Midway through the river, however, the scorpion betrays the trust placed in it and delivers a fatal sting to the frog, sealing the fate of both. When questioned about this seemingly self-destructive act, the scorpion chillingly remarks that it acted in accordance with its innate nature. Moral of the story: the fable imparts a sobering lesson about the unalterable aspects of human nature. It serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that attempts to outsmart or change fundamentally malicious individuals may prove futile. Even at the risk of their own detriment, some individuals may act in alignment with their intrinsic nature, emphasizing the importance of discernment in matters of trust. The abyssal odyssey of Poseidon. In the Kafkaesque short story of Poseidon, penned by the masterful Franz Kafka, we delve into the intricate realms of ego and hubris. Poseidon, the god of the seas, found himself ensconced at his desk, burdened with the colossal task of administering all the waters. Despite the availability of numerous assistants, Poseidon, in his unwavering seriousness, chose to navigate the vast calculations alone. The idea of delegation was anathema to him. The laborious nature of his work failed to bring him joy. He toiled not out of happiness but out of a sense of duty. Despite his pleas for a more uplifting assignment, suggestions from others proved futile, and Poseidon remained shackled to his administrative role. Attempts to reassign him to oversee specific seas were thwarted by the complexity of the calculations, rendering him fit only for an executive post. Any proposal to shift him to a different department invoked a visceral reaction, as the thought itself made him queasy. The divine complaints he lodged were met with token acknowledgement, for challenging the god of the sea's tenure was inconceivable. What irked Poseidon the most, fueling his discontent, was the misperception of his role. While people envisioned him perpetually parting waves with his trident, the reality involved immersion in oceans of figures at the ocean's depths. His sporadic visits to Jupiter offered brief respite, often concluding with his return in a towering bad temper. Poseidon's gaze seldom graced the seas, glimpsing them fleetingly on his hurried ascent to Olympus. He harbored a peculiar anticipation, claiming he awaited the world's end, envisioning a quiet moment post his final calculation, allowing him a personal cruise. Moral of the story: the narrative invites reflection on the folly of the modern office, where ego and duty intertwine, preventing one from seeking a more fulfilling path. The shackles of self-importance, as embodied by Poseidon, caution against succumbing to the trappings of relentless labor that obscure the possibility of liberation. The tale of tenacious mice, in the narrative of Two Little Mice, a profound lesson on perseverance emerges, echoing through time. As recounted by Frank Abagnale Sr. during a Rotary Club honor ceremony in the 2002 movie Catch Me If You Can, the story unfolds. Two little mice found themselves plunged into a daunting bucket of cream. The initial mouse, swift to surrender, succumbed to the challenge and drowned beneath the creamy surface. Contrarily, the second mouse refused to yield. With unrelenting determination, it fervently struggled within the cream, churning it with ceaseless effort until, miraculously, the cream transformed into butter. Exhausted but triumphant, the resilient mouse crawled out of its once perilous predicament. Frank Abagnale Sr. concludes the tale with a touch of foreshadowing, stating, "Gentlemen, as of this moment I am that second mouse." The acknowledgement hints at the tumultuous journey ahead, acknowledging that, much like the mice, the path to success is fraught with challenges and uncertainties. Moral of the story: the enduring moral implores us to recognize that the battle is not concluded until every ounce of effort has been expended. The second mouse's unwavering perseverance serves as a testament to the indomitable spirit that can turn adversity into triumph. However, the subtle reminder from Mr. Abagnale underscores the transient nature of fortune, urging humility in the face of future uncertainties. The parable of Hanoi's rat conundrum in the annals of the Hanoi rat bounty. A tale unfolds revealing a poignant moral about entrepreneurial spirit and the inadvertent repercussions of well-intentioned initiatives. During the twilight of the 19th century, amidst the backdrop of French colonial rule in Hanoi, a vexing rat infestation plagued the city. Driven by the zeal to modernize, the Governor-General devised a bounty program, offering citizens monetary rewards for each rat they dispatched. Faced with the conundrum of handling piles of rat carcasses due to health concerns, a peculiar solution was devised. Instead of rewarding citizens for entire rat cadavers, the colonial government opted to compensate them for every rat tail brought in. A seemingly pragmatic approach, however, it birthed unforeseen consequences. The once mundane rat tails transformed into coveted commodities, imbued with unexpected value. Rat hunters, astute in their pursuit, realized a sinister loophole. The rodents need not be slain. Releasing rats with severed tails allowed for breeding, ensuring a continuous supply of valuable tails. Predictably, the well-intentioned bounty system failed spectacularly, exacerbating the rat predicament rather than alleviating it. Moral of the story: the cautionary moral implores us to be wary of unintended consequences, embodying the essence of cobra effects. Well-meant interventions, when executed without foresight, may yield results contrary to their intended purpose. The Hanoi rat bounty serves as a poignant reminder to carefully consider the intricate web of consequences woven by our actions. The tale of unwavering compassion in the realm of Zen wisdom, a parable unfolds, illuminating the profound connection between compassion and familial bonds. Once in a quaint village, a seasoned farmer reached an age where toiling in the fields became an arduous endeavor. Resigned to the porch, he spent his days in quiet repose, observed by his diligent son who continued the farm's labor. The son, harboring a sentiment of his father's apparent uselessness, contemplated the value of his father's days spent in idleness. Frustration reached a tipping point, and the son, driven by impatience, constructed a wooden coffin. With solemn determination, he ushered his father into the makeshift vessel. Silently, the father acquiesced. Sealing the lid, the son embarked on a journey toward the farm's edge, perched atop a high cliff. Yet as the precipice loomed, a subtle tapping emanated from within the coffin. Intrigued, the son unsealed the lid. To his surprise, the father lay peacefully, casting a gaze upon his progeny. In a measured tone, the father addressed his impending fate. "I perceive your intent to cast me over the cliff. Yet before you proceed, may I propose a consideration? Cast me into the abyss if you must, but preserve this sturdy wooden coffin. Your children may find use for it in times unforeseen." Moral of the story: the parable resonates with an enduring truth, the boundless compassion that parents harbor for their offspring. Beyond mortal confines, the narrative underscores how the tendrils of parental love extend into the realm of selfless foresight, embracing the welfare of generations yet unborn. The shepherd's lesson: in the annals of timeless tales, the story of the shepherd's boy and the wolf unfolds, imparting a moral lesson etched in the fabric of honesty. In a pastoral village, a shepherd boy diligently tended to a flock of sheep, standing sentinel near the village's edge. However, a mischievous impulse seized him, compelling a deceitful act. Thrice he stirred the villagers from their routines with false cries of "Wolf! Wolf!" Amused by their earnest responses, he mocked their sincere efforts upon arrival. Yet, as fate would have it, a genuine threat emerged in the form of a true wolf. Genuine distress gripped the shepherd boy, and with genuine terror he implored the villagers for aid. Alas, his past fabrications had eroded trust, rendering his pleas ineffectual. The wolf, unhindered, savaged the defenseless flock without opposition. Aesop's timeless wisdom echoes through the ages. There is no believing a liar, even when he speaks the truth. Moral of the story: the fable serves as a poignant reminder: the currency of truth, once devalued through deceit, yields consequences that echo even when truth is spoken. The shepherd's tale implores us to cherish the veracity of our words, for a foundation built on honesty withstands the test of credibility when genuine need arises. The perils of unyielding pursuit in the world of parables. St. George in retirement emerges as a cautionary tale, a nuanced variation of the St. George and the Dragon legend. Crafted by Australian philosopher Kenny Minogue, it serves as an allegory for the historical trajectory of liberalism. In a bygone era, St. George, donned in the guise of rationality, materialized in the 16th century, armed with a lance poised against the dragons of despotic kingship and religious intolerance. Victorious in these early battles, he momentarily rested. Yet, as the centuries unfolded, his lance relentlessly probed new frontiers, confronting issues like slavery, prison conditions, and societal inequities. However, unlike the mythical St. George who knew when to sheathe his sword, this embodiment of rationality couldn't discern the boundaries of his quest. Success fueled an insatiable yearning for a world purged of dragons, rendering him incapable of returning to private life. The pursuit of noble causes, championing the people, the poor, the exploited, and the marginalized, transformed into an unrelenting obsession. As the aging warrior relentlessly chased ever-diminishing dragons, the colossal adversaries of yore became scarce. In the pursuit of smaller and smaller foes, breathlessness set in, signifying the descent into madness. Moral of the story: the tale serves as a poignant reminder that the compulsion to persist without discernment can lead to the perils of unbridled obsession. St. George in retirement syndrome cautions against an unyielding pursuit, emphasizing the importance of knowing when to gracefully conclude a noble quest. Embracing diversity of perspective, in the timeless parable of the blind men and an elephant, ancient wisdom unfolds, offering profound insights into the nature of objectivity. A group of blind men, stirred by curiosity, learned of the arrival of a peculiar creature, an elephant. Limited by their lack of sight, they resolved to explore and understand this enigma through touch, relying on their tactile senses. As each blind man encountered a different part of the elephant, their interpretations diverged. The first, grasping the trunk, likened it to a thick snake. Another, exploring the ear, envisioned a kind of fan. The one in contact with the leg perceived the elephant as a pillar resembling a tree trunk. A touch on the side led to the conclusion that the elephant was akin to a wall. The individual holding the tail described it as a rope, while the last, touching the tusk, deemed the elephant to be hard, smooth, and spear-like. Moral of the story: The Blind Men and an Elephant eloquently teaches us to embrace the diversity of perspectives. It serves as a reminder that individual truths, though stemming from limited experiences, can coexist and contribute to a more comprehensive understanding. In a world where truths are as varied as the touch of the blind men, the tale advocates for humility, encouraging us to acknowledge that more things can be true at once, enriching the world of our collective perception.